The ray is still hunted, even in its most exotic and usually banned forms. It is served up in kitchens across Asia. But when the meat is gone, the skin lives on. It is turned into this exotic pebbled leather. It was once favored by samurais and by sushi chefs. Now it's sold at luxury boutiques worldwide. It is wild. Check this out. And today we're seeing exactly how this goes down. We're diving deep into Indonesia's ray trade, finding out why this fish is frequently ignored in the West but prized in the East, how its unique, almost alien-like skin can be worked and polished into one of the most durable and striking leathers on Earth. And finally, we're going to see what becomes of the scraps. It's smoked, seasoned, and sold straight from these village smokehouses. It's kind of wild. Let's roll. We're kicking things off at a little street-side setup that's about one thing: Stingray. No frills, no menu, no catch of the day nonsense, just slabs of ray, seasoned up, hitting the grill until its skin crackles. The place is going off. Stingray is moving faster than they can plate it up. You blink, your order has been sold to some other guy. Alright guys, if you ask me, this sort of seems like some version of a Malaysian, fish and chip shop. There ain't no chips, but there's a lot of deep fried calamari, prawns, a bunch of Chinese influenced dishes going on as well. There's giant slabs of stingray just hanging out back here getting defrosted. And there's people grabbing takeaway all over the place. They're bagging it up, shipping it off with Grab. It looks kind of crazy. It's a nice, cool street food scene if you ask me, right here roadside. And yeah, I'm pretty keen to eat some stingray. It looks good. And it's pretty much dead simple, but man, does it work. Big slabs of stingray wing. They hit it with a quick dusting of spice, slap it on this screaming hot grill, and before you know it, it's on a plate, just looking stupid good. Boom. Okay guys, this may be my first slice of stingray. Actually not ever, I have had it in Vietnam before, but for sure I've never had it like this. This is kind of like grilled to a crisp. It almost looks blackened on the outside. It is covered in like a curry powder of all things. I see some kalimantan on the side, maybe for that citrusy twist. I saw them spray some black mystery sauce on top of it. Something tells me this is going to be like kind of an overload of flavor right here. So I think there's nothing else to do than chow down on this kind of what is the side wing of a rather large stingray. Incredibly. So I don't know if stingrays have bones, but it sort of has that cartilagey wing underneath it. And then on top, you can just pull off this rather stringy flesh. Yeah, so that is just crazy, guys. You can kind of see as I pulled it off the I don't know, it almost looks like, yeah, genuinely like a wing of bones on the bottom there. And then this really stringy flesh on top of it. That was not what I was expected. First bite, we're gonna go none of this dip, none of the rice, screw all that stuff. Wow, man, you know what? That is incredibly good. All right, this time we're gonna dip in some of this really chili sauce right next to here. I don't know if I got any of that, so we'll go for a bit more and a little bit of rice just to balance it out. Wow, honestly, that is so good. You know, the skin on top has become almost like a batter of sorts. It has kind of puffed up. It is a real different flavor to that skin. I do not know why we don't eat it like this in the West. That is super spicy, super full of flavor. I do not think this is the kind of thing that you could just batter any old creature in and it's going to taste this good. I would recommend anybody come here. That might be one of the best fish dishes I've eaten in Asia. Crazy. But a quick hop over the border down to Cilacap in Indonesia, and that's where the real cash is just rolling in. This place, the city, is beautiful, by the way, but the stealth industry of stingray leather is flourishing here. We start out at a ray filleter, for lack of a better word. All right, guys, we have arrived at this sort of small fishmonger house, fish trader, fish processor. Not exactly sure what you would call it, but the secret is that they specialize here in stingray. Man, also, just a heads up, guys, this area, Indonesia in general, just beautiful. You get a drone in the air. Holy crap, Indonesians might live in the most beautiful country on earth, I swear to God. I'm gonna move here one day. Just gorgeous. And inside this facility, these flatfish are everywhere. They're lying on the floor, they're crammed into freezers, they're filling entire cold rooms full of this stuff. And some of them are seriously huge. Whew. All right, look at that tail. Guys, look at that tail. It's like, that is wild. As you might be able to see from that monstrous thing behind me, this is in fact where the stingrays come to get processed. But this place is kind of like a punga pool of stingray. Trust me, there's a lot more here than you think. The stingray catch comes into Cilacap from all over Indonesia. Some of it comes from Malaysia and Thailand even. The funny thing is that although the industry is here in Cilacap for tanning, the waters here are too deep to produce any meaningful number of rays. Go figure. This place is more of a hub for breaking them down and turning them into meat and leather. The crown, also called the pearl panel or just like the back of the stingray, the bit where the eyes are, is the part that is needed for leather. And you can sort of already see and feel that really rough textured surface. And this is kind of what we're after, is this central piece of leather here. Once you get out onto the wings, you can instantly feel the difference in texture. Let me do that again. So I'm hoping this comes across on camera. You can kind of see the divide right around here. This is the kind of hard, bubbly, textured, really rough, grippy surface of the stingray. And these are the slippery wings. Slippery wings get eaten, spiky top bed, that gets turned into leather. And you can see the kind of like large, almost pearl in the middle, which is often showcased in stingray leather goods. Those big bulbous points. And all the different species of stingrays will have a different pattern. So if you're after stingray leather, you might even need to know the specific stingray that you're after so that you can get like a particular look. Some of them have those large bulbous parts running the entire way down the body, while others of them just have them right in the middle. And they sort of treat the leather differently in all of the different species. And that's kind of perfect because you can take it off without touching any of the wings, which is where the meat is. And obviously, here in Indonesia, nothing goes to waste. So we're about to butcher this bad boy here, this big boy, and this tail, this stinger is just absolutely massive. I mean, that's got to be, I mean, look at that thing. It's taller than me. I'm 6'2". That is just, that is a ridiculous stingray tail. Some of these things are just monsters, and they have thousands of them here. Let's see how this guy goes down. To take the crown off for leather, they start by carving this huge big circle to cut a mark around where the rough pebbled crown is going to end and where the wings begin. And once that's done, they're going to work a knife all the way under it to sort of lift off the entirety of that crown of the stingray. There's plenty of cartilage in the way, so sometimes they're just chopping right through it, and even at times using their foot to just kind of peel it apart. One quick slice takes the crown right off the tail, and that's it. That's like $180 of skin right there. Probably get turned into a Japanese belt, I'm told. One crown ready to first be salted and then taken to the tannery. You don't just eat stingrays in these kinds of countries. Nothing goes to waste. And one of the big uses, one of the big industries about leather in Indonesia is exotic leather, of which stingray leather is a big part. Let's check it out. Only the crown, that back part of the leather, the bit with the eyes on it, make it into stingray leather. But when it shows up at the factory, no matter how good of a job the filleter has done, it's still packed with cartilage and kind of scraps of flesh on the underside. So the first job is to clean it up. Today we're rolling every single step of the leather making process. In fact, they even make the complete goods right here in this kind of like beautiful Indonesian village. The first step is right behind me. They are doing fleshing. Essentially, seems pretty basic to me. They have some kind of like curved knife, and he's carefully scraping off every bit of like sinew and fat that is under that thick, bubbly stingray skin. Make sense? Let's check it out. Everything sort of starts here. We have this giant pile of just kind of like salted stingray skins. On the underside, you can see they still have like the gills attached, all that fat, that meat. And so obviously, the first step is to get rid of any of that and just start out by scraping it off with this giant ass curved knife. The workers just get in there with this curved blade and scrape it down until it is paper thin. Our guy's gone at it like he's done this 1,000 times, probably because he has. And he's got this two-handed curved blade in hand, just sweeping along the underside of each of these crowns, shaving that leather down with every pass. How many skins do you think he can flesh in one day?
One day, maybe 100.
100 skins a day?
100 skin.
Hi guys, so this is a sort of fleshed skin, and you can see right away, like, look at that kind of like smooth white underside on this, and just like, of course, that sort of pattern leather that will be the outside. But man, it is crazy how good of a job this guy does. There is absolutely nothing left on the underside of this. No fats, no sort of fishy, I mean, they don't have scales, but you get my drift. What's remaining is just pure leather. Okay, so Emil, this first step after they flesh the stingray, what is it?
And this limbing process.
Ah, man, you know what? That's so crazy. I've seen where this comes from. Lime is a big deal here in Indonesia. It's used for everything from making concrete and bricks, tanning exotic hides. They start out with these massive limestone chunks, burn it down in these smoky kilns running on tires and scrap plastics. Then teams of women bag it up by hand, and it heads off to towns like this in Cilacap to feed these leather traders. Hell, it's used in all of Indonesia's exotic leather trade. You know, it's funny guys, like I've seen this before in Bangladesh, this kind of like swelling of the skins, but I never really understood the why behind it. The lime jacks up the HP. It swells the collagen and opens it up so that tanning agents later down the line can soak right in. On most hides, it's also got this extra bonus in that the hair on cow leather or sheep leather is going to just fall right off. Obviously, stingrays just don't have that problem, but you get it. Usually it's like a free hair removal service. So we have that thing completely sealed up right now. We're about to fire it up. That is going to spin for 24 hours, but obviously we're going to skip through as if it's already happened. Once the skins come out of this liming machine, they are like this weird balloon animal version of what went in. It's kind of maybe hard to see on camera, but I don't know, this stuff has become sort of like 5 or 6 mil thick, really swelled up, just absolutely like a puffed up skin, has much more of a slimy, slippery feel to it now. And the underside, where we thought all of the sinews and fats had been taken off, you can really start to see what is remaining. Like no matter how much you do with a knife, it's crazy how much of that kind of sinew is remaining on the underside of the skin. The natural color of the stingray, the brown, it's got to go. So they take the hide in hand and they work just bleach right into it. Harder and faster until it seeps right into every pore. It smells, oh, that's like chlorine, right? That's got to be chlorine, guys. It smells so chlorine-like. That earlier lime wash has already really begun to do its job. You can see the swelling of the fibers, and you can already really see that natural beading along the top of the leather. These hides have days of spinning and tumbling chemicals right into them ahead of themselves. Here's how it works. If you know anything about leather, you know that there is a lot of spinning, a lot of drumming. I don't know anything. Luckily, Emil does. He's going to give us a quick run through of exactly what is going down here. The first step is hides going into a long and slow batting and degreasing stage. Here, enzymes work into the fibers to just sort of loosen and soften up the skin, and detergents pull out the oils so that we've got this clean slate needed in order for the skin to take on other chemicals and colors later down the line. You can kind of see it's gotten thinner. It smells kind of disgusting. It's this kind of gooey white substance at this point. They've been tied up through the eye holes. What is the tying for?
So basically to take out the fat.
Yeah.
So this is almost like chemical fleshing.
Yeah, chemical fleshing.
Okay.
Maybe.
Boom. Okay, let's move on. Next up comes the pickling. Let's find out.
Which smell?
I like some smell. Smells so good.
Smell chemical.
Smell of the chemicals. Got it. Woo! Oh man, you get that. That is why it's called pickling. Like if you have, has almost like an alcoholic type vibe to it. My eyes are like watering. Wow, that is, yeah, really kind of pungent. Again, I understand the word pickling now. This briny acid that soaks in and bites into the hide, tightening the grain and setting the stage for the real transformation, the tanning. Honestly, at this point, it kind of smells like pickled vegetables. It smells pretty good. Gone is that kind of fishy flavor, that fishy smell. We have the fat still there. It's kind of crazy how long that sinew and that fat takes to get off the bottom of the skin. But man, yeah, I can really see how this is starting to preserve the flesh. No longer is there that fishy, rotty type smell at all. This smells pretty good. In fact, being into pickled foods, I kind of feel like I want to eat some of this. Not a good idea. The last act is tanning and oiling. Chemistry sealing in the hide's new life. Oils soak in to give it a bit of flex and feel that makes leather just worth touching. And the skin has gone, like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's like a little bit more of a brownie color. Look at those kind of like stingray spikes. That is kind of gnarly. And let's take a look at the underside. There is still some of that fat and that sinew, but yeah, that is the third drum. Once again, we're still kind of trying to protect this underside of the stingray. All right, guys, that's a wrap. That is the 3 stages of sort of chemical tanning that is going to go on here. There is one more stage of spinning, which is softening, but that's not coming up, not just yet. Now that they are tanned, the skins need to dry. So out come the nails and the plywood boards that I've seen in every tanning factory I've ever been to. And it's time to get stretching and hammering. These guys hammering out, they need to take a lesson from Bangladesh, trust me. Those guys know how to hammer. Once it's staked out, they're gonna sit in these boards for just days. And you see these things lining every wall of the workshop here. They're just gonna stay there until these things are bone dry. Guys, it is wild just how many dried sort of stingray skins there are around me. It's just like wall after wall, everywhere, lining everything, just these big plywood boards with hammered out stingrays just ready to roll. And then the nails get yanked out, and what you're left with is this sort of like hard disc of leather. All right, guys, this is like a fully dried, just like discus skin of stingray. Pure white, dry it out, completely smellless, and at this point, this is entirely tanned. This thing would last 100 years, 1,000 years in the right conditions. It is just one leathery piece of leather. Nice vocab, Andrew. Good descriptions. You get my point. And it feels, you feel that texture. That bubbly ass texture is like incredible. Just how much grip is on this damn thing. Just, you can see why they use these things for samurai sword hilts. That is really grippy. It's kind of wild to think that this kind of petrified piece of ray skin can still become a soft and supple leather. And to do that, it's time to start softening. So we've got to take those rock hard discs and start working them back into something that actually is going to bend. The first step is loading them into this wire mesh drum that's going to tumble and tenderize the living hell out of these things for hours. And after the drum's done, it's time to soften them by hand, stretching each skin over these domed blades and then just whipping it. If it bends enough to crack like a whip. Whew. Bam! Guys, I thought they were like f***ing around when they were doing that, but it's like a real test. They have to like see if the leather is malleable enough to get a whip, or else they keep stretching it. I thought they were just dicking around, having fun, but no, actually has a purpose. On the tan skins, a pattern is drawn or just stenciled right on. Then scissors follow those lines, confident snips, and we are ready to sew. And why stingray? Like I've seen a lot of leather factories, but why stingray?
Because stingray is very, skin is very unique and exotic, and tidak ada saingannya.
Ah, I see. So you kind of like, you found a hole in the market.
Yes.
I like it, man. Good strategy. What do they use them for in Japan? Belts? What's a boku? Alright guys, so these just giant specimens, the biggest bad boys, these are getting exported to Japan.
This one is durian stingray. As you can see, the skin, there is like a lot of spike, like a durian.
That is cool, huh?
And this one is already different type.
How much does one of these sell for?
3 million.
3 million?
For one piece.
Wow. Guys, there's something I just love about this place. I love the kind of like graffitied out sections of the whole workshop. I love that it's done by young guys that are building this industry from an area in which Indonesia is kind of like shipping a lot of the value overseas. Here they're doing everything in-house, from the original raw skins all the way through to the final product. And sure, I mean, they're taking some risks. That guy's just wearing a surgical mask. That ain't gonna do anything with that paint. But you know what? At least I feel like they're bringing a lot of value back to Indonesia, sending a valuable product around the world, making money and eating this fish. And do you do custom orders? Like if somebody emails you and they say, hey, I want to make this, will you make it for them?
Yeah, yes, I can.
Do you think that the demand for stingray leather is growing or falling? Like is there more demand now or less?
Saya rasa semakin tahun
He saw that the order are growing every year. Maybe because people get bored with like a cow skin, you know, and that's why they try to find alternative and start seeing stingray leather.
That's cool. The skin then gets dyed whatever color is needed, and then it's time to buff out that signature stingray pearling. Alright guys, we have entered the buffing room, and just like it says on the tin, we're buffing. We've got a grinder sitting there, we got a bunch of skins, and we're just kind of getting those bad boys polished. And trust me, this is where the kind of like the value in stingray leather, the unique properties that it has really stands out. Once you buff these bad boys up, you get that real beautiful kind of sheen to it. Stingray leather is seriously very different. There's nothing else like it on earth. And what makes it really stand out is the beaded, pearled look. It's this pebbled surface that's made from thousands of tiny, round, calcified deposits on the skin. It's like the ray's natural built-in armor. And it has been prized because of this for centuries. In Japan, semigawa was wrapped around the samurai sword handles, not just for the style, but for the grip and durability, even in the rain. The samurais used this to ensure that their katanas were deadly in all conditions. That rough texture also makes it perfect for other unlikely jobs, scraping off wasabi into a fine paste. Over time, the stingray leather has moved from the battlefields to the kitchens and to these high-end boutiques. Europeans love it for its luxury good aesthetic, wallets and watch straps and high-end handbags, while in Asia it's kind of become this sign of high-end craftsmanship. It's tougher than cowhide, it's naturally water resistant, it ages just beautifully. So it's always had that kind of like built to last luxury appeal. Indonesia has this massive exotic leather trade, but it's usually the raw skins, often just dried, are shipped overseas, usually to Europe, where the real value is added and all the money is made. But here, they're tanning, they're dyeing, and they're finishing the stingray skins right here at home. Sometimes they're even turning out the final product. And that means more skill, more jobs, and more economic benefit for this country that needs it. Where do you get the stingray from? Where does the original stingray skin come from? Is it Indonesian?
Yes, Indonesian.
Ah. Guys, inside this freezer is the most insane amount of stingrays. I just saw it for the first time, dropping off the skins. It is wild. Check this out. There is just, oh my God. I don't know what you can see in here. This giant web of sort of headless stingrays ever. Some of them ready to get processed. Some of them getting sort of sold off, turned into meat. And it is just sort of, I mean, I'm standing on a giant pile of flat fish. This is kind of wild. There must be thousands of stingrays in here. Completely wild. I guess we know where our leather guy is getting his supply from. It seems kind of endless. There is a ton of meat in here. Oh, these things, I would always throw them back in Australia, but apparently they taste pretty good here. Is that not the most insane thing you've ever seen? There's a bunch of different species in here as well. Apparently they're not all turned into leather. I guess these ones here, these large arrays that are still whole, maybe those are meat. These headless ones, that's leather. Crazy. All right, so oh my God, if I can lift it up. So like manta's technically not allowed, but these kind of filter feeding rays, these smaller species, these things are very popular to eat. Wow. And then what do they do with the meat? Do they eat the meat in Indonesia?
Dagingnya biasanya.
So for the meat, they will sell local to the local people, and usually people consume it as a meal, or they will smoke it and then cook it.
Smoked fish? Does it taste good?
Yes, it's very good.
Good?
Yeah.
All right. I think we need to try some. I just wanted my
You
transition.
wanna try?
I want to try.
Yeah.
Okay. Back at the processing floor, what won't become leather still has a big future. These massive wings are carved into thick slabs. Guys, look at this crazy stash of stingray meat. So like a lot of these guys are getting processed purely for meat. That's sardines or something like that. But many of these species are like non-leatherable. They don't have that kind of hard surface. Unless they have those spiky hard bits kind of on top of its head, then they can't be turned into leather. These guys are just going to be eaten. Stacked and sent rattling off by motorbike to the village smokehouse. So Warsono has bought us just down the road where his mother smokes most of the stingray meat to be sold, I imagine, at markets. We can find out. And it seems that it's kind of like this dual business. He is buying the stingrays, selling the skins himself, while his father and mother have their own business, sort of smoking the remaining meat and selling that off locally. Time to cook some stingray. As stingray wings come in, they get a really good wash, and then they get cut into these long strips. It's similar to what I've seen with shark. The advantage of raising sharks is that there are really no bones. It's just cartilage. You can pretty much eat the whole thing. I mean, look at that. That is all that is remaining of our ray. Now it's getting cut into long strips and then just quickly threaded into these kind of bamboo skewers. We're not skewering it though. We're just going to kind of split it down the middle and tie it up at the other side. We have just like racks and racks and racks of ray here. There's also some tuna heads which look kind of interesting. And again, they're all these kind of like split skewers with the tops threaded together. This young lady here is like moving at lightning speed. It is kind of crazy. One basic room. On this side, we have one grill going, another getting fired up. One sort of like filleting station right here and another outside, and we are cranking out like a pretty staggering volume of stingray. I just absolutely love these grill designs, guys. It's just sort of two long stacks of bricks that are the exact width of the skewers, just enough so that the handle is entirely protected. It's not going to cook, but the meat inside is going to grill away. You can just sort of start your rotation on one side of the barbecue, work your way down, and by the time you get to the end, it's time to go back again. So it's just like a rather efficient way of grilling a lot of meat. All right, so guys, grilled fish goes in on the buckets on one side, and what comes out into the basket is cooked skewers of delicious stingray. Can't wait to sink my teeth into some of that. Between the sort of acid that was pickling and the smoke here, I am dying, I'm crying like a baby, but we're gonna try to get this eating scene done right here, mainly because I like the background and because somehow these guys are completely impervious to the smoke. So in this basket right here, they have these kinds of chunks of stingray. We'll grab it out. It looks kind of, I mean, it looks like smoked meat. It has some nice like bubbling on the flesh. The skin is kind of flaking off. You can see those iterations of the wing below it. And man, I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty good. It really just genuinely looks like, I mean, smoked meat. It's sort of what it is. And it looks particularly like this shark that I've seen in Lombok. Well, that is crazy. That's way undercooked. That's so undercooked compared to what I thought it would be. I thought this would be cooked to a crisp, but that is still incredibly moist. That's just soft, subtle, stringy, if anything, not flaky. And again, I think that's maybe one of the big advantages to stingray. If you're into fish, the flavor-wise, and you just don't like dealing with the bones, I'd probably put myself in that camp. Stingray is a surprisingly good go-to. I'm always sort of blown away. It's an odd texture. It does come off in these like really long strips instead of those small flakes from fish. And the strips themselves run the entire way from the inner body to the outer wing. And man, it is an odd texture if you're not used to it. And I mean, who's used to stingray? That is out of this world. But yeah, you can see why this doesn't go to waste. You can see why this is all getting grilled up in Indonesia. Out here in the countryside, this is going to be shipped to markets and sold all around this Cilacap area. And that's pretty good fish. I don't know how else to put it.